All right, guys, so I'm coming here with your lesson number 5, the quantification of fitness. So what this means is that we are putting a number on our fitness, right? What we mean by this is we're able to calculate, usually by time or speed, to qualify what it means to be fit, okay? How we do this is going back to our first chapter, our first lesson, is that evidence-based fitness. So the three quantifications of that would be that evidence-based fitness is something that is measurable, observable, and repeatable, okay? So also when it comes to the quantification of fitness, we want to make sure that our program follows, it goes in three simultaneous directions. We want to make sure that a program follows the efficacy, right? What that means is what's the return. If I say that I'm going to make you lose 20 pounds or make you a better soccer player, you want to make sure that that's what the program delivers, okay? So that's following your efficacy, the ability to get a desired result, right? Along with that, there's a lot of development with that, within the program, okay? For example, CrossFit, what we say in CrossFit is you increase work capacity across broad time and modal domain, right? So the next thing you want to evaluate about any fitness program is its efficiency, okay? The time rate of any adaptation. So if I say I'm gonna, I want you to come into my program and you're gonna lose 20 pounds, but I say you're gonna lose 20 pounds in 2 years, that's not much of an appealing program, right? It's not obviously not very efficient, okay? Again, in CrossFit, what we would say is, we increase work capacity across broad time and modal domain, right? Through things like constantly varied function, high intensity, messing it all up here. Constantly varied functional movements performed at high intensities is going to give you that, the efficiency of a program, right? Or another word to use for that would be the quality of a program. And the last thing here is the safety. So the example that we used in the guide was if I have 10 people that I train and 2 of them die in the training, that program might not be the best program, right? You want to make sure that you know how many people are going to cross the finish line, right? We want the program to be safe, right? And then another aspect of that would be keeping good technique is a great way of keeping a program safe. All 3 of these are all pointing in the same direction, right? So we can make a really, really safe program by dulling down the efficiency and the efficacy. And vice versa, right? So we want to make sure that our program is answering all 3 of these questions, and they're generally going in the same direction. Again, when it comes to the quantification of fitness, the standard is your work capacity, okay? To qualify a fitness program and the different movements, right? We use 4 very common terms, almost used interchangeably. We talk about mechanics, we talk about technique, form, and then style, okay? So we use this, again, to kind of evaluate the different aspects of our program, right? When we're doing any particular amount of work, we know that the program is to develop certain skills, right? How we do that, how we go about that. For example, if you use a deadlift and everybody starts off a class at 200 pounds, that quality of deadlift is not going to be great. But again, if we start out with PVCs and then everybody works their way up to weights that they're used to, they're going to get a lot more quality out of that. And then by keeping them safe, if everybody's deadlifting 200 pounds, a lot of them are going to have bad technique, which could lead to a lot of injuries and different things. So when we develop people at their own pace, they're able to keep better technique, and that ultimately keeps them a lot safer. So an example. So an example of this is like a strength program, right? Strength qualifies as the productive application of force. So in a program, we're going to evaluate your technique and we're going to evaluate your intensity. In CrossFit, if our technique is perfect, our intensity is always going to be low, okay? Errors, here you can see this, it says errors are an unavoidable consequence of development. Okay, it kind of comes with the territory. You know, so many people, they come into a program and they say that they want to be safe, right? But what they need to understand is if they want to develop in a program, they're going to have to accept that, you know, that one, they're going to make mistakes, and that's, you know, kind of one thing that we talk about. So as a coach, right, we're constantly evaluating technique and we're encouraging intensity. So on your first day, we're not going to come in here and ramp somebody's intensity up, right? But as they progress as an athlete, we're going to gently push them into much more intense movements, weights, whatever it may be, right? As they develop. Okay, you will not maximize when it comes to a program. You will not maximize the intensity or the speed without making mistakes, right? So we need to do two things. We need to, you know, ultimately develop and work at a higher intensity, and we need to, you know, we need to do that, you know, with good technique, right? And we need to do that at relatively fast pace. Not fast pace from the get-go, you know, again, developing into those faster and faster paces. So what we do, again, look, as a coach, we are going to constantly drill your technique, and we're going to constantly drill your speed and your intensity. If your technique is good, we're going to encourage you to go faster, right? If your technique continues to stay good, we're going to encourage you to move, you know, at a much more faster rate of speed, or more intense, right? What we call this is, we call this threshold training. Okay, again, with a deadlift, that doesn't mean that we just put 200 pounds on the bar for everybody and then everybody has to do that, right? Everybody develops differently, okay? And we're going to encourage, once certain techniques are met, we're going to encourage you to increase your intensity and or increase your speed, okay? Pretty short lesson, pretty simple, but there's a lot here. One of the cool things, you know, about this is a lot of people, they come in and, you know, they think that they're going to come in here and injure themselves. And if they ask themselves, you know, these questions, well, what do I want to get? What's my return? You know, well, I want to be more active. I want to be, you know, more fit, right? What's the time rate of that adaptation? Let's say they give a program 3 months, 6 months, a year, something like that, right? You know, the quality at which, are they coming consistently? You know, that's another big thing that we talk about in day-to-day classes. And are they coming in and are they just kind of not listening to coaches and kind of cranking away? Or are they going at, you know, meeting the technique requirements and gradually increasing their intensity rather than just kind of doing their own thing, right? So this is a great way of kind of stepping back and looking at a program and kind of understanding, you know, that there is intention behind what we do here every day. You know, you can come in and see a bunch of people banging weights and that can be really intimidating, but you know, when you understand why they're doing it, again, and this is kind of, you know, part of that reason, it makes a lot more sense, and it kind of dispels that myth a little bit, and, you know, makes people a little bit more comfortable. Like, oh, because that person's doing that doesn't mean that that's where I'm going to start, and I have to do those things as well, right? Everybody develops at different speeds, and you know, along different, you know, faster or slower. So there we go. That's our lesson number 5. Look forward to lesson number 6.